I'm just a couple of 100 meters from the Ukrainian border, and I want to thank you all for your prayers. And yeah, I met with our folks who got over. I can't video around the border area. No videoing allowed. I'm just parked up here, and yeah, hearing some pretty amazing escape stories. And well, thank God that those who did get out have got out. There's a lot of outpouring of support for Ukraine, of course, and what people need, of course, is somewhere beyond, somewhere to lay their head down in Poland. The folks that been meeting managed to set up longer term, or medium term anyway, somewhere for them to go, so that's good. I've been my poor phone has been going literally all the time with messages and desperate calls and one thing and another. And of course, the most desperate situations are those who are encircled by Russian troops and can't get food, just can't even get water, some of them, and they can't really do anything, and we also can't get in there. We can't fight our way past Russian encirclement and to get people out, etc. What we can do is what we are doing, which is guiding people who can move to get to the Polish border and beyond. And that's so far so good for those who have managed to get out. There's a lot of people who would like to get out but are nervous about getting out. I can assure them that not only we stand ready to do all we can for our brothers and sisters, but also there's a lot of goodwill. You should be aware that the refugee life is not a few days. The future is, of course, unknown to all of us. It's been so encouraging to hear testimonies from everybody so close to God, people who lost everything that they had. I ask folks the question, you can hear it in some of the interviews I did, you bitter with God, you angry with God, or do you feel close to God? And I was close to God. He's a great God. He's been so kind to us. He's been so good to us. And that is the way to look at it, that this is all part of his plan. And of course, we are here to try to make that path as smooth as we can for our brothers and sisters. And I'm pleased to say that so far, with God's help, I've certainly been able to do that, and thank you for those who've supported in every way, and the outpouring of support. This is not going to be over soon. This has now set the path for, I think, years to come, if the Lord doesn't come back, which is what we pray for. There's going to be major ongoing issues with so many people in so many different ways. And of course, we do ask for your prayers, and I thank you for your prayers for what are little, very small stuff that I'm trying to do. And time and again, I've seen the hand of providence, God's grace, the love of Jesus, in the little things that I've tried to do, and in the stories I'm hearing, all of which I have no problem in believing. And yeah, I'm just waiting here for the next part of what I'm trying to do, and I appreciate all of you. God bless. Well, coming to the end of my time here, and folks keep asking me, what can we do? What's the real position? Well, the real position is that we have probably 300 brothers and sisters in Ukraine, and I'm in touch with a lot of them by messaging and so forth. They're the ones who are in the real problem, particularly those who are surrounded by Russian troops, those who are without food because they can't get to shops. Shops are shut, supply chain is damaged, people are fearful to go out. Some people are relatively unaffected, particularly those in Western Ukraine, in the far west of Ukraine, but a lot of our folks are affected. And what can we do? We cannot go in there. We cannot fight our way through the Russian lines and extricate them. Also, most of our folks are getting on in years, and a lot of them don't want to leave. A lot of them are of the mindset that I would rather die where I am, and that is sort of understandable, really. Those who are getting out to Poland and Hungary, that's a different question. Obviously, we can assist those who can get out. Financially, the banking system is sort of working in some areas. We have managed to transfer funds directly to Ukrainian bank accounts, and the folks have got them. We have managed to send by Western Union and by MoneyGram. So there are some options there, but of course, as always, those who are really in the hardest situations are unable to, even if they got cash in hand, which some of them do have savings under the bed and so forth, they can't get out anywhere to do anything. So they're the ones in the most difficult situation, and we at this point cannot do anything for them because we cannot break through Russian lines and get them out. In terms of how can I help, people keep saying to me, how can I help beyond prayer and beyond financial donation? Well, those who are getting to Poland are in two categories. There's those who will go with the Polish authorities and get refugee status. They will be cared for within Poland. They will be given hostel accommodation and some food. I guess I could probably do with a bit of spending money, but do not think that those who get out are lying, in the bush with nowhere to sleep. There is not a need for sleeping bags. There is not a need for clothing and so forth. That may, to some extent, be the case within Ukraine itself, although you would have to get it in there, but a huge amount of this kind of aid is being taken into Ukraine by other organizations. So there's those who are willing to live in whatever the Polish authorities give them. But then there are others who have got family or friends somewhere else in the European Union who would like to get there and live with them. And of course, life is going to be a lot better in, for example, Germany than it is going to be settled in a hostel in Poland, where you may never be able to get a job. As you all know, there's millions of Poles have left Poland to work in Western Europe, in the UK in particular. So I do not particularly see that there's a need for clothing, blankets, sleeping bags and so forth. In fact, there's minibuses, small vans full of this kind of stuff coming over, who are being at the moment turned away because the whole border area is in such a chaotic situation. And there's an awful lot of vulnerable people around, and a lot of women and children, and even unaccompanied children, and Poland is taking that seriously. There's a heavy police presence. There is a desire to keep those people within the system so that they do not fall into the hands of undesirables, and that's good, but that is all in place. So the people that particularly need our help are those we can meet at the border area who don't want refugee status in Poland because they are going somewhere else, because they have somewhere else to go. And yeah, again, what can you do? Well, you can help people financially. These are long journeys being made overland, and often with kids and so forth. There are financial issues there. So I'm sorry not to be able to say to you, oh, you know what we want is sleeping bags. What we need is blankets. And I know you're good people, and you'd all rush with 1,000 sleeping bags and 1,000 blankets. That's not the nature of the situation. We are, I'm afraid, I think, in early days of this war, and how things are going to pan out, we don't know. I suppose in some of the areas when either Russia or Ukraine establishes control over the town or city where the people are living, our brothers and sisters, then things will have to go back to some sort of normality, and one will be able to send the funds out there. I wouldn't rule out going into Ukraine if that were necessary. But at the moment, it is facile to think that you can go in and break through Russian lines and grab hold of an 80-year-old dear old sister and extricate her, when actually she may be quite resigned, and many of them seem to be quite resigned to staying where they are. So yeah, it does come down to prayer and financially support. There's going to be a lot of Western Union and a lot of MoneyGram transfers coming up. I can see that. So when we see, as things pan out, God willing, how more concretely we can assist, we will of course let you know. But for the moment, be assured that we are getting what material or financial help we can to those who need it as far as we can. We have met them at the border. There are now about 10 of our folks who are now out of Ukraine and are either in Poland or are in transit beyond Poland to other areas of Europe, mainly Western Europe. So, yeah, those who can get out will get out, and we have an understanding of the situation at the border. We are there ready to help them. But as I say, they fall into those two categories: those who are willing to just live in hostel accommodation provided by the Polish government for however long it takes, up to 3 years they're being given, or those who wish to go further and make use of the opportunities that are being offered in Germany in particular to settle, etc. So that's where we're up to at this moment. And thank you for your wonderful prayers. And that's the main thing, that we don't lose our spiritual focus, and that all this is part of helping those whom we've baptized literally in the last 32 years that I've been involved with Ukraine, that we help those people to come towards God's kingdom, and we're helping them as best we can in these dark, hard times for them on their journey to the kingdom.